Watson's contract yet again, clearing $36 million against the cap. It's like a credit card that they continue to borrow against. At some point, the credit card is going to have to be paid off, but they've almost paid off all the guaranteed money on this contract. There's only so many times that they can keep doing this, and there's a real possibility that Deshaun Watson isn't even going to play this season, but the Browns have gone to him for more salary cap relief. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Chargers late last night released their Pro Bowl pass rusher, Joey Bosa. They cleared out his roster spot. They saved about $26 million in salary cap space. They did this ahead of paying him a roster bonus. Keep in mind, Khalil Mack is a free agent. We don't know whether he'll be back or not in Los Angeles. So Joey Bosa is now a free agent. Khalil Mack is going to be a free agent. And we'll see how the Chargers decide to fill their need at the pass rush spot. Dak Prescott restructured his contract yesterday, freeing up about $36.5 million in salary cap space. That came 24 hours after CeeDee Lamb freed up about $20 million in cap space, giving the Cowboys about $56.6 million in salary cap space over the last 48 hours. Jerry Jones says they're going to be selectively aggressive in free agency. Just because the Cowboys have all this space doesn't mean you're going to see them now jump in on DK Metcalf or Devontae Adams. They'd like to try to re-sign some of their own players, Jordan Lewis, Rico Dowdle, maybe DeMarcus Lawrence. And, of course, we know there's the pending situation surrounding Micah Parsons and the deal that he's going to have to get at some point in time. So Dallas can't just go on some type of spending spree, but it does have the flexibility now that it needs. And if we look back over the last 4 years, the Cowboys have been one of the lowest spending teams on average in the NFL, but at least now they have the ability to move forward and try to address some needs.
But they won't. And that, I think, is it's a glaring difference, because you brought it up earlier. You called this, Moneyball week.
Yeah.
And right there in their own division, look at what their arch rivals have done.
Well, while the Dallas Cowboys are restructuring contracts, which, by the way, they didn't do last year. They just sat back and waited. The Philadelphia Eagles continue to do things that other teams don't do. A couple of days ago, they get a new deal done with Saquon Barkley. At a time when people have not been paying running backs, the Eagles make Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in NFL history, with an average salary of over $20 million a year. One of the rules in the NFL is don't pay running backs. Well, the Eagles paid Saquon Barkley twice within the last calendar year. Another rule, don't pay inside linebackers. The Eagles go out and sign Zach Bond last year to a one-year, $3.5 million deal. And then yesterday, less than a year after they initially signed him, they signed him to a 3-year, $51 million contract, preventing him from becoming a free agent, keeping him in Philadelphia. He was an all-pro linebacker last year. And so at a time where a lot of teams are saying, don't pay running backs, don't pay inside linebackers, the Eagles break the mold. They pay a running back. They pay an inside linebacker. And I think it's as much about the greatness of both those players and how important they were last year to the success of this team. Saquon Barkley really is like a quarterback of that team with the way he runs the football. Zach Bond was the quarterback of the defense. And they're not thinking position. They're thinking how great these players are, how important these players are, and we have to get them signed no matter the cost, and they do.
They're not just looking at numbers on a spreadsheet. They're not just holding fast to these rules that they themselves have decided they need to make, and I hate to keep going back to it, but that clip of Hard Knocks last year with John Marin, Joe Shane, and all that. Well, the bottom line, you don't pay running backs. Okay, well, unless you want to win the Super Bowl, unless that there is a dynamic involved in your own team, in your own locker room, where you have a player who was holding everything together, who was the overwhelming leader and face of your organization. Put a little blood into it beyond just the numbers. That's what the Eagles have done, and they have been, aside from the Chiefs, the most successful franchise in the sport for the last decade.
Just listening to what Schefter was talking about, looking at what the Eagles have done, it reminded me of like New England. Remember, like a point in time, New England was zigging while everybody else was zagging.
Yes.
Yeah. When New England went, Rob Gronkowski, like 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
When they went 3-4, other teams with 4. Like for a long point in time, New England was ahead of the curve as far as being innovative and doing things no other organization, no other team was doing. And now we're seeing that with the Philadelphia Eagles. They went out last offseason. They go out and get Saquon Barkley. Paid him up. Yeah, I mean, like you don't see these type of moves. So the next question is it going to be a trend, seeing what the Philadelphia Eagles have done and the success that the Philadelphia Eagles have had?
Well, I think everybody in the NFL should be taking the class of Howie Roseman because he's showing you that he's valuing certain players. And another reason why they signed Zach Bond, we got to remember Zach Bond in New Orleans was a special teams player. There's not a lot of tread on his tires. So he goes and have this phenomenal year for the Philadelphia Eagles. You dang all right, you better bring that guy back. What he meant to your football team, being an all-pro guy. So I just love what Howie Roseman is doing, but it's nothing like a GM in the front office of whatever respected team showing the players how they value them by giving them these contracts.
Well, again, they set the tone here at the start of the offseason, whereas we saw a year ago the Giants vacillating on whether to tag Saquon, pay Saquon, keep Saquon, trade Saquon. What do? The Eagles, before the new league year even hits, when Saquon Barkley's got 2 years left on his deal, make him the highest paid running back in football history, saying we have a guy that we prioritize and value, and we're going to take care of him even when we don't have to take care of him.
Yeah, that's called playing chess, just as it says on the screen. Start with you. This is a mathematical equation. Caleb Williams.
I like this.
Plus Ben Johnson plus a remade offensive line. They've been busy in free agency, right? And trades and all the stuff they're doing equals what in Chicago?
They're going to be able to make the playoffs in 2025.
Make the playoffs. I like this. Hold on.
The reason why I say this is this reason right here, Greeny. When you look at a guy like Joe Tooney, who's won multiple Super Bowls, a solid veteran, played underneath center for not only Patrick Mahomes, but also Tom Brady.
Yep.
Caleb Williams can learn something from that big boy. Jonah, right here.
Yeah.
This man right here.
Yeah.
He's already been in the system of Ben Johnson in Detroit before.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's going to be helping coaching everyone else. They're going to draft a running back, and we know that this guy right here, Ben Johnson, the head coach, also the play caller, wants to run the football. The pass game is going to mirror the run game. They're going to make the playoffs in 2025.
The success of this franchise rides on Caleb Williams. In the span of 24 hours, before the new league year even begins next week, before they even go out and make dramatic upgrades, they went out and added 2 quality offensive linemen. So they are telling you right away that the quarterback is the most important guy out there, and we're going to do everything we can to elevate that guy, make sure he's protected, and give him all the help that he needs to have a successful NFL season and career.
What do you think, D. Wood? Are the Bears a playoff team?
Yeah, I think they could be. I think Ben Johnson saw what it's supposed to look like those years in Detroit. Okay, you talk about Jared Goff. Jared Goff had all type of success in Detroit. Why?
Great line.
Great line. Great offensive line. See, when Ryan G and Ryan Poles talked about missing steps in the process, part of that is you getting all these shiny weapons, but you're not addressing this.
Right.
Offensive line. That's what Ben Johnson comes in because he's seen what a great offensive line can do for all of these guys, especially the quarterback.
Come in a little tighter on my equation, if you would, please, because the alternative to the Bears being a playoff team is them watching on the couch like they have been the last couple of years. And if that is the case, will it be because of Caleb Williams? I heard our friend Chris Canty on radio this morning saying there's a lot of pressure. Last year, as poorly as Williams played and as that offense looked, most of the blame was distributed to a lot of other places. This year is the heat on the kid.
So what you want to do is you want to take all the excuses away. So it falls squarely on your shoulders. If you don't get it done, it's not because you didn't have an offensive line. It's not because you didn't have the weapons. It's not because you didn't have a running back. It's because of what you didn't do out there. And I think that's what they're doing in Chicago.
But I would also say this. That's why you bring this guy in.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you bring these 2 guys in. So this guy can get right.
It goes back to him every time.
That's my point. If things don't go well, it's going to be about him. All right, D. Wood, help me turn this thing around if you would be so kind, please. Yep. I have one more mathematical equation for us today. This is DK Metcalf.
Professor Greeny is in session here.
I'm having a very good time. This was my calling. DK Metcalf, he told the Seahawks he wants to be traded, right? So he wants out. So the equation here, D. Wood, is DK Metcalf plus whom equals Super Bowl trophy. So I'm going to take this off. Go ahead, put your team up there.
Put your team up there. D. Wood, put your team up there.
We got an improper I'm going with the Steelers, but I'm not feeling this part right. We need to do something with our math equation here.
He doesn't make the Steelers.
We need to do that. I love this thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, this is the equation. I'm feeling that equation right there.
Do we have a quarterback sticker? Like, where does that go in with the question mark? The quarterback and the question mark,
I don't
right?
know. Somehow I have 2 question marks left.
Well, they have a lot of question marks at quarterback. right
Okay,
now.
well, actually, let's do this then. Let's take DK Metcalf off, and let's put the question mark over here. Shefty, which quarterback should the Steelers sign to get to the playoffs?
With DK Metcalf,
Right.
right? They're working with Justin Fields to see if they can get a deal done. They're working with Russell Wilson to see if they can get a deal done. They have no quarterbacks under contract. So you can go trade for this guy, right, somewhere over here and make him work, but you still have a major question mark at the quarterback position.
I mean, by the way, for the record, I'm the only one who touches the board. But that's a different conversation.
Sorry, Professor Greeny.
Well, where do you want, all kidding aside, DK Metcalf, where do you want
So
him?
I have DK Metcalf plus the Kansas City Chiefs equals a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah.
And here's my thinking here is that we know Travis Kelce is coming back for his last year. Why not go for the gusto? You're not bringing in DK Metcalf to sign him to $30 million a year, that whole nine. No, you're bringing him in saying that we know Travis Kelce is going to give us his all for this 1 year. Let's go for the gusto. Let's bring in a receiver. We got Rashee Rice coming back. You're going to have Travis Kelce. Why not give him that physically imposing wide receiver out wide?
Shefty, the team I like in this is the Chargers. I think that is a team to watch. They need help at receiver. They've got Ladd McConkey on one side. I think Harbaugh is gearing up for maybe this to be a year he thinks they can make a deep run.
You know what's interesting? DK Metcalf is interested in the Chargers, and Devontae Adams is interested in the Chargers, and there's a lot of people that have interest in the Chargers because they know that it's a good team. They know the type of coach Jim Harbaugh is, and they know the type of quarterback that they have. So which one of these wide receivers is going to wind up in L.A. with the Chargers? That becomes, hey, your Charger sticker fell there, Professor.
Yeah, but that becomes the big question mark of the NFL offseason.